What can the New Jersey Devils possibly do for an encore in front of a sellout crowd? Two Atlantic Division rivals match up in Game 2 of their Eastern Conference quarterfinals. The NHL on OLN is also available in HD. Joe Beninati, Darren Elliott, Bob Harwood with you tonight. Martin Brodeur and the Devils looking to get a leg up again on the New York Rangers, whom they pummeled in Game 1 by the count of 6-1 to the strength of 5 manpower advantage goals. The Rangers have been preaching discipline all day. We'll see how this one unfolds.
Well, they feel they didn't give themselves a chance to win in Game 1, and that's unacceptable.
These Cross River rivals, the New York Rangers in white, New Jersey on home ice in the red. Martin Straka weaving in. Nylander was dumped. Nylander and Straka playing without the high-scoring Jaromir Jagr. If you missed it, Jagr has been scratched. Did not take any morning skate. Was receiving treatment throughout the day. Was listed as questionable at best by his head coach Tom Rennie, and has been scratched for this Game 2 day to day after this.
And Peter Sikora starting on that line, so a big assignment for him, moving up onto that top line with Nylander and Straka.
The hero of Game 1 is Patrick Elias, moving it on the wing. To the front, Kevin Weeks between the pipes for the Rangers, taking over for Henrik Lundqvist. And Ryan Holwick, who turned 23 yesterday, sends it on back.
As part of that in our open, we said hunch in history. Well, part of the hunch was that Coach Tom Rennie just didn't think that Henrik Lundqvist was fully recovered mentally from his hip injury. He's just not on his game, out of sync in his reads and reacts. That's why Kevin Weeks is in there. The history part we talked about, Joe, he's had some success against the Devils.
Paul Martin working in back. Ken Klee, his defense partner, came over from the Toronto Maple Leafs during the regular season. Langenbrunner finds Gomez, and accelerating back, it's Klee on the dump down. Into the second minute of a scoreless first period with the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs on OLN. Ruchin retreats. On for Hossa, collected by Ruchin, and 2-on-2 he moves with a 30-goal getter during the regular season. Impressive rookie, Peter Pruka. This is Pruka on the dump down, and Brodeur calls out the traffic instructions as the Rangers are in the midst of a line change. Gomez, a very clever playmaker, lost the handle. Wiseman, just up from the American Hockey League, wipes out the youngster Chad Wiseman, 25-year-old Ontario native. Giunta, the leading goal getter for the Devils during the regular campaign, will tip it back so that Lou Lamoriello can change on the fly. Handed ahead to Rasmussen, literally, and that is a whistle and a stoppage in play as we set up the netminders for you tonight.
Well, in this game, Marty Brodeur, look at that resume, unparalleled. His generation of goaltender, 135 consecutive starts for one team, is an all-time record, 85 career wins, 3 Stanley Cups. Impressive indeed.
What was it, Patrick Waugh, who worked 136 straight, couple different squads?
133 straight for the Avalanche. It started with the Montreal Canadiens.
Brodeur chasing down so many Patrick Waugh's records. Matt Tkachuk calling for assistance on the breakout here as the Devils slow the pace. Approaching the 3-minute mark, New Jersey leads this best-of-7 quarterfinal, 1-0.
A little bit of chessboard hockey going on here by both teams.
Madden heard Sikora stepping up. Roosevelt, who's had a fine season for the Rangers on the back line, gets thumped. Madden and Pandolfo, quite a defensive tandem up front. Rister on the way, wide of Weeks. They were hoping for the deflection from Grant Marshall.
Yeah, top line or not, with Jaromir Jagr on it or not in the lineup. Madden and Pandolfo are out there against the Rangers top line regardless.
Nylander skips through center on the dump down, Darren. First to get it is Rafalski. Very good puck mover in back. He takes the role of what used to be handled by Scott Niedermayer.
And he's handled it with aplomb all season. Good puck mover, good skater. In combination, that's perfect for today's NHL.
You think about how the Devils' defense corps has changed. No Scott Stevens, Scott Niedermayer, Ken Danico. So many different bases were covered by those three.
But on the backside, it's still always about Martin Brodeur.
Point position, delayed penalty call. Ozolink's block, follow-up chance. That was ripped off a defender by Pody. Weeks is on the bench. We hear the whistle. The Devils are shorthanded when we return. But now we check in at Bill at the OLN Studios.
Joe, thank you. In Buffalo, J.P. Dumont pulls away from a whole bunch of Flyers. Denny Gauthier leaves his feet, and Dumont puts this one by Robert Ashe. 1:42 seconds into the first period. Buffalo already ahead in the series 1-0. They lead this game 1-0. Back to Joe and Darren.
Exactly, Bill, what the doctor ordered for the Sabres. J.P. Dumont with some fancy work.
And this is exactly what the doctor ordered for the Rangers. Grant Marshall, you see immediately Dan Marwelli in the foreground, his arm going up with the infraction, and now the Rangers with a chance on the power play.
But without their top point producer, Jaromir Jagr, 54 goals, 69 assists during the regular season, a boatload on the power play. He's not available tonight. Creeping out of the corner, the snap wrister from Hossa didn't get through. Pruka handles. On top for Roseball, shaded by Langenbrunner. Pruka dancing with it. Waits, looks for a seam. Roseball sets the screen. Pruka playing catch. Roseball fires it, zipped wide. Brodeur scrambled into position. Maruchin didn't get the rebound cleanly, and his pass will elude Fedor Tutin.
And that play was a set play. If they're in the passing and the shooting lanes, in the morning skate, the Rangers defensemen were pounding the puck 2 or 3 feet wide straight on to see what kind of carom it would generate. You saw it right there off the back wall out in front.
Our OLN viewers just took a peek at the special teams numbers for these two squads throughout. The power play, brilliant for New Jersey in Game 1. The Rangers would like to turn the tables this time around. Pruka had the only goal for New York in Game 1. It was a manpower advantage. They were 1 for 6. Nylander rattled there by Madden. At a point position, it was fumbled by Ozolinsh, and New York has to recoil.
Well, the youngster Pruka had 16 power play goals in the regular season, but that was as a second option. I don't know that he'll get that kind of room as a mandatory option.
Nylander trying to get it back for Straka. It was read by Madden. Cody sweeps it out wide for Ozolinsh. Backdoor Straka. One more time, Nylander, and just a bit strong.
Too fancy. Who's got to shoot that? He's right between the shoulder blades of Brodeur. Straka tries to hit Nylander. When you're struggling a little bit, get the puck on net.
Just about 6 minutes in to the first period of Game 2 in the best of 7 between the Rangers and Devils. And the New Jersey fans putting their hands together as Grant Marshall exits the penalty box. This one right to the breadbasket of Weeks. He'll hold. As we hear the whistle, we return to even strength. No score in this one. So glad you've tuned in with the NHL on OLN.
The number 7 seed has struck first in Carolina. Alexei Kovalev of Montreal, big in Game 1, lofts a pass to Jan Bulis. Here he is on Martin Gerber. Rams it over the shoulder for a 1-0 lead. So early in Game 2, Montreal leading the series 1-0. They lead this one 1-0. It's busy here at Hockey Central, Joe and Darren.
Very much so, Bill. Very much so. And that's counter opposite to what happened in Game 1 in that series. It was the Canes who struck 50 seconds into the contest. Matt Cullen quickly, and then the tables were turned throughout the night.
Montreal might just be rolling. Martin Gerber continues to struggle.
Alexei Kovalev, a pair of goals in that first game. Pruka bombs away, blocked by Richard Matvichuk. What else is new? He's among the career leaders active in that department.
And this team is, Devils team, so disciplined in all facets of the details. Getting in the passing lanes, the shooting lanes, getting in on the forecheck, going hard to the net, cycling, all the little details in terms of hard work. That is what the Devils are all about.
Betts working it in deep, and some would say, Darren, that the Devils are emotionless. I think they're anything but that when they have their own private time.
Yeah, and I think it's not just that. They play, they keep their emotions in check and don't let them get the best of them when it's business time. But private time, it's a pretty good group there, a pretty close group, and it's a veteran-led group.
Jansen and Holweg came together just outside the blue line for the Rangers. Those two scrapped in Game 1. Ortmeyer finagling his way into the offensive zone. Nylander is the trailer. Another booming hit. Jansen drew the ire of Darius Kasparaitis in the first game. And this time around, there's a penalty call coming.
It looked late. It looked late by Jansen's. The puck was already long gone. And Denny LaRue will confirm my suspicions. Interference, the call. Jansen's the culprit.
Lou Lamoriello incredulous.
Oh, I like that. He's not happy either. There's a puck. It's long gone. And there's the hit. I think once Mr. Lamoriello, as so many refer to him as, once he reviews the videotape, he'll agree with the official's decision.
So the Rangers get their second manpower advantage, hoping to strike first against Martin Brodeur and the Devils in this Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Quarter. The NHL on OLN, it's the first of a doubleheader tonight. Colorado at Dallas to follow. Ozelinch loves to play below that goal line. Risk and reward. Cody keeps it along the dasher. Pandolfo in full sprint. Rafalski helping out, and this is a 2-on-1 for New Jersey. Rafalski walking in. Slipped it backside. Score! John Madden!
That used to be customary for the Devils and John Madden. He led the league one season with shorthanded goals. That hasn't been the case this year. But that was just a beautiful play by Brian Rafalski, freezing right there. Watch the freeze. And then through the defender. Tom Poti did not take away the passing lane. Kevin Weeks had to respect it. And Madden slipped it home.
Darren, just to make more bold your point about Madden and shorthanded goals. The Devils only had 3 of them all season.
Yeah, one of the lowest totals in the National Hockey League. May have been the lowest. And that used to be hallmark to their game. They would almost be more offensive-minded when they were down a man.
New Jersey.
They're just a skating team no matter what. Even strength, power play, and penalty, and they're feeling it.
Ruchin and the Rangers still another 65 seconds with which to work on the power play. And the old adage is the best way to answer a shorthanded goal is to score on the very same power play. Ruchin will try to do that with the help of Marcel Hossa. Canceled out along the boards by Langenbrunner and Martin heave-ho. Away you go. A handheld look, working ice side. Madden boarding the Roosevelt's advance. Tootin strolls with it. Straka right on the button for Sikora. Sikora to the front. Answered again defensively by Brad Lukowich, 2-time Cup winner. Dallas and Tampa Bay. Devils shorthanded another 20 seconds. Lukowich funnels it out. Pandolfo and Rafalski get the assists on the Madden shorthanded strike, something for Coach Rennie to be concerned about here in the opening stages as this one is lofted off the rink for the whistle. And we hear now and welcome in Bob Harwood.
Well, Joe, another concern of Tom Rennie's this morning when he talked to us after morning skate. He just didn't want these guys to squeeze the stick, let some experience seep up to the level of play. And so far tonight on a couple of scoring chances, we've seen them not being willing to pull the trigger. And Tom Poti at the other end and trying to break up that 2-on-1. Didn't explode back from the blue line to the face-off circles. Big part of why there was confusion in front of Kevin Weeks on that one.
Wow, that's a great point. I think Tom Poti really could have helped himself inside the blue line offensively. He had a chance to step into the shot. Instead, he didn't. He hesitated, bobbled the puck. It led to a turnover later, deeper in the zone, and led to the goal eventually.
Two teams back to even in full strength. Straka full blast, a snap wrister that's jabbed aside by Brodeur. 1-0 Devils here as we send you back to Bill at the OLN studios.
Thank you, Joe. In Buffalo, the Sabres on a power play. Gagne of the Flyers in the box, and people dropping like blimps out of helium. Tim Connolly goes around 2 people, slips it to Chris Drury. He pulls the trigger on the one-timer. Sabres 2, Flyers nothing. Back to Joe and Darren.
Graphically, you see Escher, those 55 saves in game number 1. That's all the Flyers need is for the Sabre power play to start clicking.
Well, it was going quite well in that first game, and if it wasn't for Esch, it could have been 2-0 early. They did, don't forget, go up 2-0 in that hockey game, and Philadelphia fought their way back. But realistically, that could have been, we did that game, Joe, on OLN. That game could have been over early. It could have been ugly early, but it was just heroic goaltending by Esch.
Sabres finished 0 for 9 on the power play in game 1. They won't be 0 for this evening. Here in New Jersey, at the Continental Airlines Arena, the Devils have a 1-0 advantage. It's a special teams goal again for New Jersey. Madden shorthanded from Rafalski and Pandolfo, just a little bit shy of the 8-minute mark.
And you were right. Devils just 3 shorties on the season. That was the lowest. And then you had 4 for the Rangers, second lowest. But right now it's 1-0. New Jersey on top. Take a look at what they did. They did it short-handed. Devils on top, 1-0 over the reeling Rangers.
The New York Rangers have made a goaltending change, and there's some method to their madness.
Coach Tom Renney wanted to use historical data. And take a look at why Kevin Weeks is in this one. He played the best game, the last best game, according to Tom Renney, that this team played was against the New Jersey Devils in this building. It was a loss, 3-2, but he played well. And then he has history on his side coming into a series and eliminating the Devils. And he was a part of the Carolina Hurricanes. So it was recent history, past history. Kevin Weeks in based on Tom Renney's historical data search, his term.
Back then, it was the Canes beating the Devils in 6 in the first round, then moving on through Montreal and Toronto before bowing in the Stanley Cup Finals to Detroit. And it was Weeks and Urbe at their best.
Again, Tom Renney was looking for a reason to call Weeks' number. Last April 9th game, they didn't win the game. But don't forget, this team has lost 6 in a row. That began that skid. But Kevin Weeks played well, and Tom Renney said it was the last good hockey game we've played as a team, and Kevin Weeks was in goal in this building. So that's the recent part, and then again, coming into a series, having that kind of background helped with Renney's decision. And all of this has to do with Henrik Lundqvist just not being on his game. That's why he needs to look for an option.
Devils in the home red. Cam Janssen just checked out. Janssen has quickly turned into a fan favorite with the way he throws his body around. Fans look for him every shift. Martin's pass was thieved by Pruka. Pruka working with Ruchin. Deflection try never came. Martin tied up his stick. Head coach Lamoriello praising Paul Martin's play in the latter stages of this season. Gomez wheeling in for a wrister. Eaten up by Weeks.
That's a new twist. Good save by Weeks. Scott Gomez is a passer first, but I think he's getting it. This line with Brian Giunta and Zach Parisi going to test Kevin Weeks. They've been good. Gomez used to never look shot first, but this keeps everybody honest. This is not one that he was necessarily trying to score on there, but it sets things up later on. What a line they've been. Not a 6-footer in the bunch. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Zach Parisi's speed. Well, we know that there's at least one of us under that 6-foot plateau in the booth right now. Joe Beninati, Darren Elliott upstairs, Bob Harwood, our ringside reporter. Madden, the goal-getter for the Devils, to the front. Deflection try, Pandolfo. Rejected by Weeks. Rushed along into the corner. Pandolfo gets there ahead of Sikora. Jay Pandolfo feathered it back to the point and latching onto it swiftly for New York. 29-year-old Peter Sikora. Ozelich fanned on the dump down. Madden uncontested. Shoulder high, routine for Weeks. Roosevelt tied for the NHL lead in plus-minus with Ottawa's Wade Redden. Ortmeyer creamed by Klee. Ken Klee, the birthday boy today, turning 35. Holweg. Betts back behind the cage. Freeland keeps it moving. Devils build some momentum now with Elias. Scooping it into space and well read by Marek Malik. As New Jersey regroups, we hit the 7-minute mark to play in period 1. 1-0 for the Devils on the Madden shorthanded goal. New Jersey leads the series 1-0. Moore blazing the trail down the wing. Late guy coming. Tootin fires. Sticked away by Brodeur, and he artfully handles that rebound into the corner. Langenbrunner thrust into the wall by Wiseman. Chad Wiseman getting his NHL playoff debut, and now some tough stuff. Matt Tkachuk and Orr practically nose to nose.
That's a bad trade. If Matt Tkachuk goes with Colton Orr, a tough guy, and he chooses not to, they need Matt Tkachuk in the lineup, especially with Colin White out. The groin injury. Need all your steady, stable defenders back there if you're the Devils.
The Rangers missing Darius Kasparaitis, that groin injury flaring up. The hitting in this game, as anticipated, has been ferocious.
And there's the hit by Wiseman, not making a very wise play. He could read the numbers, Jimmy Langenbrunner. Wiseman sits for that indiscretion.
So now the New York Rangers, who had the game's first 2 power plays, stare down New Jersey's advantage, 17.8%. Just past the midway mark, or middle rank of the National Hockey League's 30 teams. Gianta, though, with a slew of power play goals, 24 to be specific. During the regular season, Elias had 2 back in game 1. Brodeur paddles it ahead for Gomez. And Rafalski will quarterback things through center. Elias turning away. That pass didn't have a lot of starch on it. Rafalski broke his stick. Gianta hooks it on back for Gomez. Langenbrunner is a flamethrower at the point. Martin lets it go. Deflection, score! Brian Gianta! 2-0 Devils.
Great puck movement. Brian Gianta, terrific hands, short of stature, big on heart, and he plays a big man's game. He goes to the front of the net. Look at the traffic. Out high is Elias, down low is Gianta, and that's a near side deflection. Perfectly placed shot. Paul Martin in a position where Gianta could handle it, and that is a thing of beauty.
Darren, wasn't that nice? That was a slap pass.
Oh, that play was well set up. But again, the rotation of the New York Rangers, slow out high and very slow down low for anybody to react with a stick in lane on Gianta.
Madden streaking in, backhander right to the gut of Kevin Weeks. Gianta had 3 helpers in game 1. This time around, he calls his own number for the power play goal. And the Devils have stashed a pair behind Weeks and the Rangers for the lead. Follow the bouncing biscuit with the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs on OLN. Our Sprint keys to the game. We were hedging at the top, but we'll drop them in now.
And you guys at home, this is a checklist. Now, can't beat themselves. Rangers, a little tentative. Respect the streak. They've won 12 in a row. They look like they are not going to slow down, and both teams have to focus for different reasons. The Devils, their focus has been excellent. The Rangers, so far, it looks like they've been a little bit, oh, woe is me, with Jagr out of the lineup, and they haven't used it as a rallying point at all.
John Madden in control. Madden working with Pandolfo and Marshall this trip. Roosevelt sends it out. It's Straka, Nylander, and Sikora as the top line for the Rangers. Straka fires off the webbing of the glove of Brodeur. Straka parked back behind the cage. So elusive. His first step very quick to separate from defenders.
It's very good to be able to get the puck to Jagr all year, but this time going to the corner. Devils just letting him go, Nylander, because they know there's not that great presence of Jaromir Jagr out there for him to get the puck to.
Straka collaborating now with Nylander, 2 against 3. Sikora joins the fray. Back for Straka's wrister that was deadened by Marshall and skated to safety by Lukovic. 4.5 minutes to go in the first period. 2-0 for the Devils if you're tuning in. 2 more special teams goals for New Jersey. Madden shorthanded and Gianta on the power play.
And as you mentioned, regular season Devils middle of the pack in both penalty killing and power play. Rangers, good season because they're special teams, both penalty killing and power play in the top 10.
It's amazing early on in the Stanley Cup playoffs, league-wide, 42% of the total goals scored have been power play strikes.
And that's a testament to Commissioner Bettman making sure that the message was delivered loud and clear to the officials. Make sure that you withhold the standard and keep it where it was all season long, because the hockey was fantastic, and that's been the case here so far in the playoffs.
Now the Rangers got whistled for 16 penalties, gave the Devils 13 power plays in game 1.
Some of that was later on with frustration.
Sure.
Too. I mean, that's the whole point about them beating themselves.
Ruchin turns a corner. Hoses backhander dipped wide. Persistent pressure now from the Rangers in the white. Matvechuk squashing that for a moment. Brelin overskates. Sergei Brelin will reverse things. As the Rangers call off the Dogs in the midst of a line change, 3 minutes and 20 seconds away from our Dodge intermission report. Are we on OLN?
Very different style, though. The Devils, look at the controlled breakouts versus a go-with-the-flow mentality.
As Gomez works in, the Devils are offside on the rush. New Jersey in front by a deuce. The Dodge intermission report soon to come. Bill Clement, Keith Jones, Brian Engblom checking in on these items and more. Flyers and Sabres in their game too. Ditto for the Canadians and Canes. And of course they'll break it all down here from East Rutherford, New Jersey through 20. Tom Rennie mulling things over. The bench boss for the New York Rangers has to be in consideration for NHL's Coach of the Year with his outstanding work. Rangers picking up 100 points, placing third in the Atlantic Division.
They did an excellent job in instructing and teaching and getting these guys to buy in. They had a tremendous year. Little luster taken off it with the late season swoon, though. And unfortunately for them, it's just the wrong time of year because it's carried over and get into these playoffs.
The Devils anything but swooning at the end. They won 11 straight to end the regular season. More big hitting continues as Gomez was leveled illegally.
By Colton Orr for no reason.
This will be a power play for the Devils when we get you back. But for now, here's Bill at the studio.
All right, Joe, in Buffalo, the wheels have fallen off for Philadelphia. They turn it over at the Sabres line. Paul Gostad to Jason Pominville, and he rips it over Robert Esch's shoulder. Couple of rookies teaming up on that one. Buffalo 4, and the Flyers nothing still in the first period, Joe.
You can add Kodalik to that list. Alesh Kodalik has scored, and the Sabres are running.
But we did that game. Tremendous first game on OLN. And we're not surprised by Buffalo. Tom Rennie surprised that his team continues to play undisciplined hockey. Colton Orr in the box for interference.
Just at the tail end of that replay, we were seconds away from seeing Colton Orr and his infraction. The Devils, a man to the good, 5-on-4 late in the opening frame.
But again, we'll go back to that Buffalo score. We're not that surprised.
No.
I mean, unless Philadelphia changed something or Buffalo was off their game, but everything was kept even. That game one could have been like that if not for Robert Esch.
That Sabres team, when they go pedal to the metal, when they go full blast like that,
which is all the time.
All the time when they skate, they can put pressure on a number of teams.
And I think that they just found out how Pominville can shoot the puck. Ooh, he has a big booming shot.
Martin surveys the situation. Devil power play. Parisi fires. That hit traffic. Lukovic. The Devils were lauded for the way they screened Henrik Lundqvist in game one.
And Henrik Lundqvist is not in this game because that's one of the things that he has struggled with, if anything, in a marvelous rookie year, dealing with traffic in front. They felt that Kevin Weeks could handle the traffic better, make his react better in traffic than Henrik Lundqvist. So far, it hasn't really made a difference. The deflection by Brian Giunta on the power play, very reminiscent of a guy having to read traffic plays. Deft deflection, mind you. Not really anything you can fault Kevin Weeks for, but again, that's what they were looking for. And big saves.
At the other end, Darren, pretty much a rocking chair first period for Martin Brodeur. He's only faced 5 shots.
I don't think there's nary a scoring chance yet.
Giunta carving in. Langenbrunner next. Langenbrunner deep for Rafalski. He bumps it out there for Gomez as we're under a minute to go in the first period. Stay with us. The Dodge intermission report soon to come. Always a good safety valve. There's Martin Brodeur. His pass for Giunta the length of the rink, and it turns out to be icing against the Devils netminder.
Good power play execution. Giunta, Parisi. Here it is. Look at the traffic in front. Not just the blue shirts, the red shirts of the Devils. And they're there in case there's a rebound. And that was a nice save by Kevin Weeks. Parisi given a lot of credit. He's joining that line with Gomez and Giunta. If he doesn't step up his game, they don't have the balance and the ability to move Patrick Elias to the other line. I won't call him the second line. And that has really helped the Devils during this streak.
40 seconds, Darren, to go in this first period. Jamie Langenbrunner and the Devils have been outstanding with the manpower advantage in the first, 4 periods of this series.
They're just a confident team, and we talked to all these guys this morning, Joe. We talked, well, of course it's fun. We've won 12 in a row. But they said we do remember that we were just battling to get into the playoffs just a few weeks ago. we're finding new ways to win that gives you confidence, but in the back of their mind, they found a lot of ways to lose. They had some turning points. They got it together, and again, that real tight locker room. This is a good group led by Madden, some guys that have been here through the wars. It didn't flick a switch. You know, Marty Brodeur talked about it. There were some things that we had to do better. We were able to do it, and now we're winning.
And Marty said to us earlier in the day, you know what, the Rangers may be more dangerous without Yager. Getting a number of other guys more minutes.
More minutes, playing better in different situations. That's how he has to think. It hasn't translated here in the first 20 anyway.
Not just yet. Ruchin keeping it back behind the goal as the first period comes to its conclusion. Another solid one for the Devils sellout fans to celebrate. Madden shorthanded. Gianta on the power play, all backed up by Marty Brodeur. And the Devils, who in their last 5 playoff seasons are 8 for 8 in series when they win game 1. They've got the jump on Kevin Weeks. Stay with us. The Dodge Intermission Report is coming up on OLN in a moment to Bill, Keith, and Brian.
Team of the NHL. Grab life by the horns. Dodge.
Here inside Continental Airlines Arena, 2-0 Devils after the first in game 2 of this quarterfinal. An interesting story on the coaching side for the Devils. Lou Lamoriello taking over for Larry Robinson in December. And Bob Harwood, it's not every day the head coach is also CEO, president, and GM.
Well, Joe, that history with the players makes it pretty strong. He's got a connection with a lot of them. He drafted most of the players in the lineup, over a dozen tonight, impacting the team. He brought that connection and his sense of humor behind the bench.
Well, first of all, I'd love to be able to let my hair down a little. But in saying all of that, I think you have to handle each situation as it is. And we have to always understand that the players in that locker room are under a tremendous amount of pressure. And they don't need somebody else putting pressure on them. And it's very important for every one of them to know everybody is going in the same direction and just trying to get the same end result. So I think there has to be something, as you mentioned Bob did, by just taking a step back and making everybody feel a little more comfortable but not relaxed.
He used to get on me for certain plays, but now that he's behind the bench, he sees, you know, there's nothing like being on the ice level, and he sees maybe what I was trying, maybe what I was, and I think, you know, I mean, obviously the credit's got to go to him, Johnny Mac, and Lappy. They've, I mean, everyone was nervous, but Lou's nothing but positive.
The Bob that head coach Lou Lamoriello was referring to, Bob Gainey in Montreal, who took over for Claude Julien and has helped to turn fortunes in the Canadiens' favor. Montreal doing a nice job again tonight down in Raleigh, handling the number 2 seed Canes. Here in New Jersey, the Devils are on top of the Rangers by a 2-0 margin. On Wednesday, New York will host its first Stanley Cup playoff game in 9 years. And we'll be there with you with the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs on OLN. Straka dipping inside on Rafalski. Loose in front, a backhander that was sent wide of Brodeur. Lukowicz, very steady. Straka zips it off of traffic in front. And the ricochet right to the waiting Grant Marshall to clear.
That's old-style hockey. I mean, old-style 1950s hockey where you had guys on either side of the goaltender.
Friends, all rights to this telecast are reserved. Any rebroadcast, recording, retransmission, or other use of the broadcast without the express written consent of the National Hockey League is expressly prohibited. On a Monday night in East Rutherford, the New Jersey Devils and John Madden got on the board first and continued right from there. Madden shorthanded at 7:47. Gianta on the power play at 14:13. Back in the first, and that's where we stand. Wrap around. That's denied by Brodeur, and he had a second whack, too.
And if there's a vulnerability to Martin Brodeur's game, Betts tried to exploit it right there on the wraparound on the glove side. He doesn't play like most guys nowadays. He'll go paddle down, but now he tries to go high. You see there's a lot of room there. And Betts just missed the shot. But over the course of his career, Marty Brodeur has given up more wraparound goals because he's more of a stand-up style tactician than most guys these days.
He was explaining to us earlier, Brodeur did, how he's modified his style somewhat since back in the day in the American Hockey League when he was a Utica Devil.
Didn't spend much time there, though, did he?
No. He was ready from the outset. But that his game has changed to some degree, but has not become that robotic down low, take away the lower third of the net style. Elias to the front. Good defensive position for Ozelinch. Breland hooks it on back. Ken Klee keeps it deep. Klee, a physical-minded customer, fits right in on that New Jersey blue line.
And in contrast, Kevin Weeks is also a very similarly athletic goaltender. He's trying to incorporate some of these teachings and stylings of Benoit Allaire, the goalie coach. Actually, he needs to learn patience. That's always been a knock against Kevin Weeks throughout his career. He's had a fine season, though, for the Rangers in a backup role.
You can be explosive as a goalie. Kevin Weeks is explosive.
You need to be side to side.
Tremendous reflex.
Yes.
The kind of netminder who can steal a game. Martin fires, kicked out of there by Weeks. And you'd imagine that played in somewhat into that hunch that Rennie played tonight by sitting down Lundqvist. Ruchin walking in. That was deflected a bit by Matvichuk on the way by. Sharp angle. Old school kick-out save there from Brodeur. And then Giunta swats it back onto the Ranger hat.
You said old school, but that's all by design for Marty Brodeur. He just doesn't control rebounds. He tries to box the puck to areas, as he described it to us this morning. So his teammates can key breakouts and all those kinds of things. That's a level of greatness that, quite frankly, few have ever really mastered, and he has done that.
So he makes stops with a purpose.
Right, well, not just, he likes to attack the puck, make saves, control his rebounds, but his rebounds sometimes aren't just controlled to a safe area. It's so it does something for his team positively in terms of keying a breakout.
One thing he's never done, and he's done an awful lot in his NHL career, is beat the New York Rangers in a Stanley Cup playoff series, as you see just how dependable he has been through the years.
And a workhorse on top of all the other superlatives that we keep heaping on him, and he's earned them. And such an engaging personality as well. Take the time to talk to you about his game, the state of the game. He's a fan of the game.
Right off the draw, backhand chance just sent wide. Nylander looking for his own rebound.
And getting back to the matters at hand, much better start to this period by the Rangers.
Agreed, agreed.
And needed, let's be honest, much needed.
Even in full strength, just past the 3-minute mark of the second period. Straka forced at the line by Pandolfo, who doesn't have Jaromir Jagr to worry about tonight. Pandolfo on for Marshall. Inside out on Malik. Marshall goes down, and up comes the arm of referee Maruelli.
And Malik, not even a look in the direction of Dan Maruelli. A beeline to the penalty box. Tom Rennie beside himself. Now, Grant Marshall, there it is. There's the can opener. Stick between the legs, it's automatic. Malik knew it. That's an old trick that's been eliminated by the officials. You cannot put the stick between the legs of a non-charging offensive player because he cannot stride. Many defensemen use that as a tactic, and I'm sure Rennie will know that that was truly a penalty when he sees the tape.
So New Jersey, Darren, goes to its third power play advantage. They got the PPG from Giunta back at 14-13 of period 1. Lou Lamoriello sends out Langenbrunner and Gomez, Elias and Rafalski and Giunta this turn in red for New Jersey. Good takeaway, swiped there by Blair Betts and put all the way down. Rangers without one of their top penalty killers in Jason Ward.
There's been lots of injuries. I mean, no Jagr, we've talked about that. No Kasperitis. And Jason Ward going out with a knee injury in game 1, and he's lost for the series.
Giunta zooming in. Raczynski took the morning skate. Martin Raczynski did. Gomez fires, deflected away. Raczynski says he's feeling a little bit more comfortable dealing with that bad finger, but he's not ready yet.
The pointer finger, but he hasn't pointed to his number yet in terms of being ready. Another regular out. Martin Raczynski. So this is a depleted Rangers roster right now.
Langenbrunner made one more pass for Gomez. Gomez so creative in these stretches. Elias brushed it back. Langenbrunner fires. Rebound. Kicked out. As Weeks flashed there to deny on Gomez. Rafalski waiting. Through the seam again. Too hot to handle for Elias, and Strudwick clears.
Big sequence for Kevin Weeks, that rebound save. Mark it down if the Rangers are to score that next goal, because then we'll have ourselves a real hockey game.
Such an important stretch, an important penalty kill for the New York Rangers in the white. Feder Tutin throwing it over the window, and the officials are going to say No delay of game. No delay of game.
Take a look at that save in traffic. Mind you, that's one of the reasons he's in there, not Henrik Lundqvist. Tom Rennie feeling he can deal with. Here's a big one right there. Boom. It's a rebound, but what a great react. You talked about his explosiveness. Just a little bunny hop to his left. Big body gets it.
Let's spend time with Bob Harwood now.
Real brief, guys. Tom Rennie also said this morning that Kevin Weeks is 31 years old. We're not sure if that's old or young in the NHL anymore, but he still thinks of him as a younger goaltender, and you've got to be willing to go to these guys and let them regain their confidence. So it's small picture, a substitution tonight for maybe a subpar performance a couple of days ago, but big picture as well. This guy could be a career guy in New York if he goes long term, so they need to keep him involved.
Bob, a lot of the guys, a lot of the Rangers, players and coaches alike were saying, you know, we knew we were going to need two goaltenders at some point in the playoffs. This comes pretty quick. Lukowicz sticked away by the netminder Weeks.
Now that to me is coach speak for having to use two goaltenders, because in a perfect situation, Lundqvist is on top form, and believe me, he's playing this game if that was the case.
Lundqvist, who's been so good at Madison Square Garden. You may see him again before this series is through, and especially in games 3, 4, and 6, should it go that far. Along the wall, Breland. Connecting with Rasmussen. He'll deal it behind Weeks' crease. Ozelinch there to play. Sandis Ozelis around for Marek Malik. As we move towards the 6-minute mark of period 2, the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs on OLN. Joe Beninati, Darren Elliott, and Bob Harwood with you. We'll stay with this series for game 3 in Manhattan on Wednesday. Cody walking the line. Gloved away by Madden, and he'll clean.
And look how quick the Ranger defensemen were to yield the blue line.
Ozelinch zooming in there, and Klee has him corralled. Kruka measured against the backboards by Madden. Pandolfo putting some heat on Pody. I happen to think Jay Pandolfo may be as good defensively as John Madden. I don't know if you share that same opinion.
Well, they've been in tandem. They're inseparable. And when I think of Madden, I think of Pandolfo, and likewise. But they do share the hallmark ingredients of a Devils forward. They can skate well, they think defense first, and they're able to cash in on their chances. They're opportunistic scorers.
Gomez is trying to stretch the defense. In counterattack fashion, it's Sikora. Fires it wide. Peter Sikora, such an outstanding shooter, had an opportunity there to draw the Rangers within one.
I think that turnover will lead Scott Gomez to be saying, I'm sorry, Mr. Lamoriello. He won't be calling him Lou as he goes to the bench after that one. That led to a 3-on-1.5 going the other way for the Rangers.
Weimer not able to clear. On the second effort, the pass works back through center, and Roosevelt gets it only as far as the Devil line.
But he wasn't holding the line. Roosevelt was out in the neutral zone. He's a little used to the offense there.
Kicked away by Brodeur, and again, no onside rebound.
Well, kicked for a reason, because he had two guys, two teammates there that keys either a breakout or at least a chip out.
Nylander scurries in. Nylander in tight quarters. Back behind the cage, there's Colton Orr, making his NHL playoff debut. Lost it there to Langenbrunner. Langenbrunner didn't get it out. Around the turnstile she comes. Eliash up in arms with Strudwick. Had Wiseman out there, 21 in the white for New York. Fresh from the American Hockey League's Calder Cup playoffs. Wiseman and the Wolfpack of Hartford involved in a 2-2 Eastern Conference matchup with Manchester in the American Hockey League. Eliash back. Matvechuk out there wide. Martin Rister snared by Kevin Weeks. Colin White is out of the lineup. That means David Hale is into the playoffs, and Peter Pruka is about to introduce him on OLN. A face only a Devil could love. New Jersey has a 2-0 advantage, and the Devils' power play in this series, this young series, has been outstanding.
And maybe he was just miming and mimicking the red light being flashed. Power play time. Game 1, the Devils, 5, count them, 5 power play markers. Here they've got one. Brian Gianta's tallied 6 power play goals in 4+ periods of hockey. That's pretty good production.
Gianta's a beautiful deflection of a Paul Martin slapper. That gave New Jersey the 2-0 lead it now enjoys as we move some 9 minutes into period 2. Ozolinsh trickles it into the corner. Betts from the sharp angle. No problems for Martin Brodeur. Sandis Ozolinsh out there for the New York Rangers. A stay with the NHLPA substance abuse program during the year. Gomez turned aside by Weeks. Good to see Ozo in the lineup.
It really is. He played well at the Olympics. Glenn Sather, 3M, went out and got him after he saw that he was in good shape, lean shape. And he really did help the Rangers' power play.
Cody off the glass and back to center. Rangers in the white. Kuka working in, drive, and that was a headhunter over Brodeur. Hossa. Ruchin wandering his way. Not going far, though, with Zach Parisi close by. Parisi and Breland and Marshall out there now for head coach Lou Lamoriello. Right into the eyes of Paul Martin. Breland. And out.
That's a perfect example of what the Devils are doing positionally. They set their battles high. What that means is the wingers are real close to the blue line. That backs off the Rangers' defense at the opposition or the offensive blue line.
It's a scheme they have used well and used for a long time. 2-0 New Jersey on OLN.
It's 2-0 Devils in the second period. Of the 6 points Patrick Elias racked up in the Devils' 6-1 Game 1 victory, this assist on the goal by Jamie Langenbrunner might have been the most creative and resourceful. Elias told us this morning that basically soccer is Europe's Little League baseball when it comes to the culture of sports at a young age. And guys, he said that young hockey players, 7, 8, 9 years old, spend minutes at a time during practice. No sticks in hand, just pucks at their feet. Together, alone, along the boards, long passes, every way you can handle a puck to learn how to survive it. Clearly seems like it's second nature for a lot of these European players.
That was a beautiful play, and if that's if he was liking it to Little League here, then that was a home run play by Patrick Elias in that goal.
2 goals, 4 assists, 6 points, 2 off of a New Jersey Devil playoff record. Patrick Sundstrom against the Washington Capitals in seasons past, many moons ago.
Two of the best sports for cross-training for hockey, lacrosse and soccer.
Nylander with a backhander. That was a good one, too. Michael Nylander looking for the roof on Brodeur.
A rising frisbee backhand. A difficult one for goaltenders because you don't know where the release point is. You see how it's a static, stationary move, puck on the stick blade. Watch, the blade doesn't, you can never tell when the player's going to release it. They don't cock it, they don't bring it back. Makes it a difficult save for the goaltender. Brodeur got a glove on it.
Martin Brodeur's 9th stop. Shots on goal in game 1 of this series were even at 30 apiece. The Devils prevailed 6-1 in that one. They lead 2-0 now, and they lead 12-9 on the shot scoreboard.
And that is Devils hockey. That 12-9 shot really reflective, that total reflective of them playing their kind of game.
Madden undressing Nylander of it. Straka finds Sikora. Sikora up to the top line for Tom Rennie. The New York Rangers without the great 68. Jaromir Jagr did not take morning skate, did not take warm-up, and was scratched tonight. Langenbrunner finding Madden. Blazer right on the button there, sticked away by Kevin Weeks. Gomez content to keep it in there deep. Then goes to the bench, towards the bench, as the Devils are closing in on line change time for Mr. Lamoriello. Isn't it nice to hear first reference Mr. Lamoriello from so many of them? As this is put off the rink, deflected away. 2-0 for the Devils here. Let's hear from Bill at the OLN studios.
Calling off. Montreal skate to the corner. It gets better. Hits another Montreal skate and finds its way a seeing eye carom past Cristobal Huet. Matt Cullen has both goals in this series for Carolina. They've cut the deficit to 2 in this game. Joe and Darren, back to you.
Wow, Bill, the Canes will take them any way they can get them. Pinball type tallies.
And sometimes that's what you need, a lucky goal, a lucky break to get yourself going, because right now the Canes, they're stuck in neutral.
Carolina was such a fantastic home ice team in the Eastern Conference. I want to say they had the most home ice wins, and to see them sputter out of the gate against Montreal.
31 wins on home ice, but they were sputtering down the stretch, much like the Rangers.
This New York team trailing the New Jersey squad by 2. 8 minutes to go in period 2. All the scoring back in the opening stanza. Parisi working with Gionta and Gomez now. Scott Gomez talking about Parisi's speed being so valuable to the line.
And the same thing we talked to Lou Lamoriello this morning, you, me, and Bob, and he was talking about Parisi being hockey strong. He's not big of stature, but very strong on the puck is Parisi. They were all very complimentary, line mates and general manager / coach, CEO, as you said.
Rister knocked down by Weeks, and then he sprawls to cover it in the paint as the hard-nosed Strudwick keeps the piece in front.
Quick whistle. I think the puck did come off of Weeks. And Dan Marwelli lost sight of it. That's why there was a quick whistle. Again, Weeks down in traffic, battling. He's actually done a pretty decent job. You couldn't fault him on either goal.
Kevin Weeks, a well-traveled netminder, traded 4 times in his career, 31-year-old Toronto native, backstopping New York's hopes tonight.
Rasmussen just throws the knuckleball. There it is. You can see it comes through, and it's still not covered, but finally Weeks has it, but Dan Marwelli had the quick whistle. He thought it was gone right there. Marwelli over the left shoulder of Weeks. No way you could have seen it on that right pad.
Dan Marwelli, Denny Leroux, the referees, Michel Cormier and Jean Morin, the linesmen tonight from Continental Airlines Arena. The NHL Stanley Cup playoffs on OLN featuring Tom Pody and the New York Rangers. Blair Betts crowded immediately by Elias.
We talked about the Carolina Hurricanes needing a break. Just at one goal. Just a goal in any form or fashion here for the Rangers could get them going.
Darren, this is going to be an elbowing call to Jed Ortmeyer, and he's not pleased.
Neither is Tom Rennie, but I said goal will get them going, not elbows to the ear of Patrick Elias. Trying to make something happen. Elias with the hit. And there it comes. That's a flying elbow. Excuse me, it was not on Elias, it was on Paul Martin. Elias was laying the hit in the neutral zone, but either way, it's undisciplined play.
It was harsh words from head coach Rennie after game 1. He said, matter-of-factly, we humiliated ourselves.
Yes. But, you know, and when we show those bench shots, the coach isn't always yelling at the official. He could be yelling, showing his frustration with his team's inability to show the discipline that he knows that they have because they played with good discipline all season long.
Another important penalty-killing stretch for the Rangers. The Devils have a 2-0 advantage. You know how good they are when they carry leads of that nature to the third. The Rangers have to bottle them up here. Giunta boots it down low for Gomez. Turned away by Roosevelt. Elias, quick pass. Langenbrunner tapped on Rafalski. Langenbrunner fires off of Marek Malik, and the towering defender will get it out. Straka helping hand. Straka short-handed bid thwarted by Rafalski. Pody just lobbing it over the head of Langenbrunner. Rangers want to change their penalty killers. A minute to go in the shorthanded situation for the Broadway Blue Shirts, who are back at MSG for Game 3 of the series on Wednesday. We'll be there on OLN. This is Game 1 of a doubleheader this Monday night. Following us, next up, to the American Airlines Center, where Colorado looks to add to its series lead against the Pacific Division winners, the Dallas Stars. Moore to the goal bounce. Morodor left a juicy rebound there, and Hossa was tied up. Giunta streaking in with Elias. Elias hits the brakes. Lukovic channels it on for Martin. 20 seconds with which to work on the power play. Deflection try went wide. Martin locked up along the boards. Lukovic's pass is deflected off the rink. We hear the whistle with New Jersey still in front of the ailing Rangers by 2. Here's Bill in the studio.
Joe, the winds are blowing in favor of the Hurricanes. Tail end of a 5-on-3. Stahl to Wait to Rod Brind'Amour out front. And the Hurricanes have cut it to a 1-goal deficit. Montreal 3, Carolina 2. Joe and Darren.
Bill, thank you very much. We'll be hearing a whole lot more from Bill Clement, Keith Jones, and Brian Engblom in just a few moments. Scores and highlights throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight. They'll set up Colorado and Dallas and also break down things from here in the Meadowlands. Rod Brind'Amour, 30-plus goal getter, more than half of those on the power play. He tallies for Peter Laviolette's bunch, and all of a sudden, they found a hole in Cristobal Huet.
You said it, sometimes it takes a lucky bounce to get you going. Rangers looking for the same thing here. They just got to a penalty kill sequence.
Ortmeyer in solo, fires! Brodeur! A 10-bell stop.
Lou Lamoriello looks on. He's seen it before. They're on their feet here in New Jersey. Out of the box comes Ortmeyer. Denied by Brodeur.
We have worked all our lives for this moment. And you will not deny me what is rightfully mine. This is my Stanley Cup.
We're back inside 2-0. Devils on top. 5:04 remaining here in the second period. Devils fans loving it. Marty Brodeur sent us to break with a 10-bell save, as Joe Benedetti called it, and he was right. Beautiful, but he gets a lot of help in front of him, doesn't
There's a
Marty
few of
Brodeur?
those. Yeah, he does. There was a few of those Marty's better cheers in game one as the Devils roughed up Henrik Lundqvist, so much so that Lundqvist is sitting game 2 out.
Well, they weren't wrong. Lundqvist had a marvelous rookie year, but he got a long way to go to match the resume of Marty Brodeur. But those guys in front of him we talk about, they're out there right now. John Madden, Jay Pandolfo. You can't say enough about those guys. Their commitment to defense, but knowing when to go on offense like they are right now, hallmark for the Devils. And it's been for a long time.
Madden's Chris Rister went wide. Sikora on for Martin Straka. Straka and Nylander and Sikora out there in the red, white, and blue. Sikora bombs away well wide of his former teammate, Martin Brodeur. Straka seized along the backboards by Rafalski. Always in good position. Straka looking to deal. Nylander creates. Sikora's drive was blunted by Madden. Pandolfo in pursuit. Roosevelt keeps it in the attack territory. Just over 4 minutes to go. Second period. Quick bang-bang play. That was intended there. Straka and Nylander.
Oh, I was going to say, you can see the Rangers picking up the pace a little bit. They know they're in this hockey game.
Couple of good penalty kills ensuring that.
Exactly. And, you know, just a 2-goal hockey. They know they get that next one. They're right there. This one's be for the taking, and they're working hard for it.
They keep working like this, they will get the next power play chance for sure. Grant Marshall storming back ahead with Pandolfo, and there's a whistle and a call. It's going to be holding the stick. Before we spell out who's guilty, here's our Dodge storyline tonight, and it includes the absence of Jaromir Jagr.
Tonight's storyline began in game 1. Jagr with the push, the frustration push. Scott Gomez, he's out with that shoulder injury. And then 2 goals in the first. That one, a nice deflection by Brian Giant on the power play. That makes it 2-0. It's where we are now. But specifically, the Devils are on a penalty kill situation. Grant Marshall holding the hockey stick right there. You can see it, right hand. He throws it away, even though he's in an offensive situation. He can't believe it. And he gets the extra for the unsportsmanlike, showing up the official with that motion as he's going into the offensive zone. So a little bit of a break here for the Rangers. Now they must capitalize. Lou Lamoriello looking for his guys to hold the fort.
These two teams, bitter rivals in the 4th edition of this Battle of the Hudson. And the Ranger fans know that this is a prime opportunity for their favorites to get back in it. 4 minutes worth of power play time in the latter stages of period 2. Roosevelt scampers to get there ahead of Langenbrunn.
That's the old umpire rule, don't show me up. Grant Marshall whistled for doing just that. Tail end of the holding the hockey. So our guys had a great look. You can brush the defender's stick away, but you can't clasp it and grasp it the way Marshall did.
Ruchin feeds Roosevelt. Roosevelt connects with Hossa. Tried to make one more through Matt Tkachuk. That was ill-advised. Creeping out of the corner, Ruchin on the overlap through the screen block. Roosevelt sheds it. Kruka fires it, chested down by Brodeur. Kruka, Hossa, Ruchin up top. Martin gets it out for New Jersey. A sellout crowd, better than 19,000 here at the Continental Airlines Arena for Game 2 of the Eastern Conference quarterfinals. It's the Devils and Rangers on OLN. Rangers on the power play in white, 5-on-4. Madden, who has a short-handed goal tonight, cruising in, looking for another. Slotted away by Ozelinch. End-to-end Roosevelt for Sikora. Sikora joining the rush. Nylander, one more for Straka, was blocked away. And here comes another penalty call for hooking.
Looks like it's on John Madden on the back check.
Why don't we head downstairs, appropriately enough, with the officials making a call for a word with Bob Harwood.
Guys, just in terms of refereeing and consistency, before the first of the 2 penalties was called, Denny LaRue had an opportunity to send a player from the box from either team. He let both calls go, and it reminds me of a conversation we had with Brad Lukowicz this morning about consistency from officials. They know the crews will change from game to game in the playoffs and regular season. What they want is the standard set early in the game and stuck to 1 player through 20 for both sides. They don't like it when referees make decisions about, well, he's not a player who usually does this, so I'll let it go. They want consistency and structure, a lot like elementary school kids. Tell them what they're going to get, they know to expect it.
Well, that was the great thing when Gomez reacted and said, you know what, it's okay if I get scolded by a referee. I tend to listen to him.
Well, you know, these guys, the Devils right now, down 5-on-3. That's a hook on the hands, but what a brilliant reverse pivot by Brian Rafalski to stop the passing. You can see Straka was thinking slam dunk. So it was a great play, but I think we saw this crew in game 1 in Buffalo. LaRue and Marwelli. I like the game that they officiated there, and I have no problem with the way they've officiated. Look at that play. Straka can't believe it. But they're going to need some more brilliance from Rafalski and the mates. In front of Brodeur, down 5-3.
You see Madden and Marshall boxed in.
And Madden knew it. He didn't argue at all. He tried to get back on the back check. Hooking was the call. He accepted it.
Nylander, Straka, Pruka, Ozolinsh fires. Pad save Brodeur. Raked out of there by Pandolfo.
And that looks like a juicy rebound. No, that keyed to clear.
He's that good, huh?
Yes, he is.
Man, he's that good.
You're asking that rhetorically because you know that's true.
Ozolinsh walking in. Up top, Sikora fires off of Brodeur on the post. Rebound. Marty's got it.
I mean, the post help, he never hurts either. I don't care if you're Marty Brodeur or Joe Blow in the beer league. But the first one of that sequence, this is a bomb. Clunk, change the post, there's a dent in it. Good puck movement. Off the iron, quick to find it. Good help by Martin.
Darren, what a difference a late power play goal or 2 for the Rangers could make here in the second period.
In this game, in this series.
Ruchin, Pruka, Straka, Sikora, and Ozolinsh. As referee Marwelli explains things to Lou Lamoriello. Reminder to you NHL fans, we are chock full of Stanley Cup playoffs. Colorado and Dallas to follow. Right here with the NHL on OLN. Pruka along the goal line. Canceled out by Rafalski. Ruchin plays it. Around the boards, there's nobody there. 90 seconds to go in the second period. 1:13 to go in the 2-man advantage for the Rangers. Without Jaromir Jagr. What a difference he makes 5-on-3.
No kidding. No kidding. That off wing, top of the right face-off circle, his office, right where Sikora is right now.
Straka looking to feed Sikora. It was blocked. Giunta with a nose for the puck, able to get it out.
And that's good when you're as tiny as Giunta is. He's quick, but you better have great anticipation. He showed it there.
Pruka waltzing in, last minute in the second period. Ozolinsh for Straka. Straka to the front, deflection try, denied by Brodeur. Ruchin was all camped out. Pruka, Straka, once more for Pruka, well read by Rafalski, and he sends him away. Ryan Rafalski exhale and a standing O from the Devils supporters. 30 seconds to go in the second period. Rangers stay on side. Straka gives it on back for Sikora. Ozolinsh with 22 to work. Ozolinsh gives to Pruka. Around Rafalski. 15 for the Rangers in the second period. Stop attempt. No shot there. Pandolfo clears. Madden out of the box. Onside. Madden waits. Stonewalled by Weeks. Then he scores! It trickles over the goal line.
They call him Mad Dog. He comes out of the box and scores the goal. I'm not sure that Kevin Weeks was aware. This is a cross-ice carom coming from your right. Look at Kevin Weeks has the hesitation blues. Why isn't he playing that puck? And you can see it trickling. Oh, and then it's knocked and it wasn't over the line. Great job by our camera guys. Oh my goodness. Sandis Ozolinsh tries to help and he hurts. Oh, so much.
Ozo own goal. The soccer equivalent of the own goal turns out to be the second shorty of the night for John Madden. And the New Jersey Devils, who are almost bulletproof when they carry leads like this in the third. The New Jersey faithful to their feet. John Madden and the Devils, 3 better than the Rangers. Stay with us. The Verizon Wireless Intermission Report is next.
Bud Light, always worth it.
The remarkable New Jersey Devils, who call Continental Airlines Arena their home. They've won 12 straight decisions, 11 in the regular season, 1 to start this Eastern Conference quarterfinal. And tonight on OLN, they are 3 better than the visiting New York Rangers in Game 2 after 2 periods. Joe Beninati and Darren Elliott with you as the two teams have reported back to the ice surface for duty in period 3. And Darren, the Rangers need a revival.
And they were doing a better job in that second period. That late shorthanded goal by John Madden going to be tough for them to overcome, but they're going to have to find a way to do it.
Before we start the third, here's Bob Harwood with Tom Rennie.
Joe, thank you, Tom. If part of the mission is regroup tonight and maybe chip away and carry momentum, what are some of the goals for the third?
Well, we have to keep our composure, stay poised, keep getting pucks at Marty Brodeur, play the game as much as we possibly can on their end, and use it as a springboard.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, Joe.
Coach Bob, thank you very much. The NHL on OLN Stanley Cup playoff style continues. Immediately following Rangers and Devils, we go Colorado and Dallas. Those teams have met so often in the last 7 years, 4 out of 7 to be specific. John Madden, the scoring hero so far tonight with a couple of shorthanded goals. And the Devils have a 3-0 advantage through 2, and they are ruthless when they are on top.
Face-off win, which is important because there's 22 seconds remaining on the power play for the Rangers.
Straka enters the zone. The late guy coming is Roosevelt. Weaving on top, Zakora for Malik, through the screen, bombs away, and it's squeezed by Martin Brodeur.
And there's a difference. Good shot by Malik. Marty Brodeur comes out and tries to get into the mix, get out closer to the traffic, so it has less of a chance to deflect and change. Look at him battling Straka. Look where he is on top of the paint. A lot of goalies today play deep in the paint and give themselves more reaction time, but that also gives the puck more of a chance to deflect by you and change angles.
The league's leader in wins again, 43, right up the draw. Straka had a great chance. He couldn't get the puck to cooperate. Loose in front, another whack at it for Straka. That was glanced wide. A relay to the goal mouth answered by Pandolfo and swiveled away. New Jersey and New York even in full strength, 5-on-5. First minute of the third period in East Rutherford. Marek Malik cradles it, then lost it to Madden. Madden winds and fires, snapped out of the air by Weeks. New Jersey, 3 goals, 2 for Madden. Number 11's been cooking shorthanded. Brian Giunta, a power play tally in the first. The special teams continue to percolate for New Jersey. Hossa spins and looks to stuff. Hossa, Ruchin, and Fruka out there now. If you're joining us a little late, the Rangers without the services of Jaromir Jagr. He did not make the morning practice. He did not take warm-up. He is out of the lineup and listed as day-to-day. Hossa angling in. The younger brother of the more celebrated Thrasher winger, Marian Hossa. Elias racing back 2-on-2 with Langenbrunner. Elias stalls. Lost it there. That was a tough pass.
That's not the play that Coach Lamorello wants his guys making just inside the offensive blue line.
That's what you guys call the danger zone, right? That 10 feet inside the line?
Because it's a double cross. As you see, you got your other wingers going. They think the puck's going ahead of them. Instead, it goes back on the turnover the other way.
icing here against New Jersey.
But Lou Lamoriello, John McLean, Jacques Laperriere, coaching staff, the Troika, and they've been good with their communication. It's worked very well. Long-time Montreal Canadian. Talk about a shot blocker.
Yeah.
None better, maybe, in the history of the game from a defensive standpoint than Jacques Laperriere.
And Devils fans can easily root for John McLean. He's their all-time point-scoring leader.
He's done a nice job. He's gained some valuable experience. Maybe he'll get the head coaching job. If Lou wants to give it up, he might enjoy it so much he's going to stay behind next year.
David Hale puts it into the corner. The Devils without Colin White, so Hale's in the lineup. A deflection try from Parisi.
Boy,
He just missed.
Did he knife to the net nicely?
Does he ever?
And that was a nice right pad save by Kevin Weeks.
Ken Klee, the only even-strength goal in the series for the Devils. The birthday boy touching it up there as we refocus back on the 21-year-old Zach Parisi. As far as the Devils are concerned, special teams, special teams, special teams.
It's been special indeed. Shorthanded. Look at this. Inside deflection by Giunta. The power play. And then as time was expired, I still don't know why Kevin Weeks didn't come out and aggressively play that puck. Instead, he makes kind of a save. Ozon's going to help. Always going to hurt.
Was he gambling that the time was going to expire? That Madden goal is at 19:54, the second. And the Devils with 3 more special teams tallies.
Wow.
That's a good percentage.
I know that Lou Lamoriello is on the competition committee, but if you want special teams to matter in the postseason, that's ridiculous. Bring your point home. 8 of 9 goals in the series by his team, just dominating on both sides of the special teams ledger.
And just a reminder, if your team goes down 2-0 in a best-of-7 series since '87, 87% of the times, the team on top wins. The other team, they're drinking in the warm sunshine, those drinks with the parasols in them. That's what happens when you go down 0-2.
Is that an all-inclusive spa they're going to for those kinds of drinks, Joe? Are those
Hale.
fancy resorts?
There's some nice places, but you go there unhappy for a while.
Yes, you do. You go away to forget.
The umbrella drinks help, though, I guess. Moore throttled there by Klee. Hale kept it moving. And it pinballs back out to center. There's Pody.
I'm going to get back to that Kevin Weeks play because the team in front of him in the first period had the hesitation blues, meaning there was hesitation to their game. He's played pretty well in goal, but not coming up to play that puck. You've got to make that decision as a goaltender instantaneously, but allowing John Madden to skate from the penalty box to the top of the opposite faceoff circle and ending up in a goal, it's a bad decision or a bad non-decision by Kevin Weeks.
Pody looking to the front for Straka. He didn't get that cleanly. Ken Klee moves it away for John Madden. Further still to Pandolfo. On the wing, it's Marshall. Pandolfo watching and setting the screen. The Madden wrister didn't get through. Moving towards the 5-minute mark of the third period. The Rangers trailing the Devils by 3. New Jersey trying to jump to that 2-0 advantage, much like Colorado will after this one's through. The Avalanche and the Stars. And the Avs seem to have Marty Turco's number.
He's going to have to step up and show that he's as good a goaltender in the playoffs as he's always shown to be in the regular season. Marty Turco has not been able to do that yet. Winning pedigree in college, hasn't been able to translate. And that's the big challenge for Marty Turco. And you know what? It's one of those things, the longer it goes, the more of an issue it becomes. If he comes up with a big performance tonight, though, all will be forgotten and it's game on.
Elias with a wrister that was weakened on the way. Rangers defense score a little bit weakened tonight without the services of Darius Kasparaitis.
He's been missing for a while, though. He's tried to play a couple different times, including game 1, but that groin injury just keeping him out.
Look at how good the Devils are protecting leads of this nature in the postseason. Practically impenetrable. Truca smoked by Elias along the boards. One checkmate to another. Langenbrunner for New Jersey. Exits the zone. Malik was keeping an eye on Elias. Roosevelt playing for the Rangers in tandem with Holweg. Holweg zips in and fires one. Missed the target. Malik cheating down low. Holweg to the goal mouth as Brodeur holds the post. Then fires, he scores! A lightning quick release from Blair Betts. And the Rangers have life.
Just fired it in one motion. Good forechecking shift. One of the few times the defense, Malik all the way down. Look where Malik is, aiding the attack, and there's a shot. Wow, right in the elbow. The crook of the elbow over Brodeur and under the frame of the goal. And Tom Rennie's not saying all bets are off. All bets are on, as in Blair bets.
Darren, all bets are on. You're terrible, by the way. Blair Betts has 4 goals in 8 games against the Devils this season. He's been able to figure Martin Brodeur and the Devils out.
That's a perfect shot. But again, part of that, seriously, the defense has not been supporting the attack very much. Malik was down below the goal line, helping the forecheck, keeping that play alive.
These two teams will get together at Madison Square Garden Wednesday. We'll have it for you with the NHL on OLN. Just across the Hudson River. Will the Devils have a 2-game advantage? That's the big question. They've got a 2-goal lead. There's plenty of time left in regulation as New York builds its comeback effort. Weimer to the front, answered there by Betts, and he'll scoop to neutral ice. Cody picks it up on the run, turning on Hale, the former All-America out of North Dakota.
Well, we can certainly see one adjustment that Tom Rennie must have made with his coaching staff with his team. Engage the defense in the offense, because they've been pretty stagnant and static through the first 40 minutes. Now they're up ice. First it was Malik on the goal, then Cody, the first guy up ice in that last rush.
Activating again. This is snagged by Brodeur. He keeps it moving. Nylander was right there on top of the crease. Dangerous for the Devil Vezina Trophy winner. Malik comes over to play. Finding Straka. Rink wide. Sikora on the dump down. Off in the distance you hear, let's go Rangers. Roosevelt blocked away by Marshall. Madden on the fly with Pandolfo. Madden's drive jabbed away by Weeks off the rink. It is 3-1 New Jersey. Back for more of the third in a moment.
Line of Montreal in penalty trouble again. A 5-on-3 for the Hurricanes. Ray Whitney back in the lineup, banks it in off a Montreal skate. 53 seconds later, still in the power play. Rod Brindamore on a wraparound gets it by Cristobal Huet. 4 unanswered goals for the Hurricanes. The building is rocking in Raleigh, gentlemen.
Thanks, Bill. We talked about that fluky bounce. Cullen goal got them going, and they haven't looked back. Canes, a force to be reckoned with in Game 2.
Head coach Peter Laviolette makes the goalie change, goes to the youngster Cam Ward, and a 3-0 deficit has been erased in Raleigh. It was a 3-0 advantage for the New Jersey Devils here in East Rutherford. Until a few moments ago, Blair Betts is first in this postseason at 541, making it a whole lot more interesting. Matvechuk clears it on. Marcel Hossa snares. Hossa sifting between defenders. Maruchin below the goal line. Good look at Martin and Hossa go to the glass. Eliasha waits off of his 6-point performance in Game 1. Eliasha's been held off the score sheet by my tally tonight. Betts looping it into the corner. Ortmeyer shot out of a gun there to get there first. Holweg, the energy line for the Rangers on ice. Gianta snares, and Parisi's gone. Zach Parisi zooming in. He was hooked. And this will be a hooking call. No penalty shot, according to referee Denny Leroux.
And it was really all set up. Tom Pody was trying to help on the offense. Look at him right here. He's poaching. Sticks in lanes. He's caught. And there's nothing that you can do on the back check other than hook and hold. Parisi, look at him trying to shield the puck with his body. And it's a pretty easy call. I believe it's a good call that it was not a penalty shot.
So the reason being he attacked him and made contact from the side first? Is that the reason?
Didn't have a full stride, you know, that stick length kind of visual.
Normally they say in the clear with possession and denied a reasonable shot.
But the clear has to be that stick length kind of visual that they use mentally to say this that far enough away. Good job though defensively, but you can see the Rangers pressing, and rightfully so. And we've talked about it. That's a good adjustment they've tried to make here in the third. Engage their defense from the blue line, but it cost them there.
Dominic Moore weaving in. Moore pressed against the boards. Gianta crunched there by Straka. The two forwards race off the ice to change penalty killers for the Rangers. Checking the big board, 11 minutes to go in the third period. Devils on a power play, another 80 seconds. Betts gobbles it up and swivels it out. The 80th anniversary season for the New York Rangers. They're back in the playoffs. Missed it 7 straight NHL campaigns, tangling with the Devils. Gomez, Elias, next in line, Rafalski. He had a power play goal in game 1. He pumps this one towards the goal, and Weeks had to flash the pads. Pody hooks it on. Hossa spins it out.
Nice read by Kevin Weeks. Again, the traffic in front, and that's very difficult for a goaltender. You look through the traffic, you try to find the flight of the puck, and then he just kind of moved to his right quickly as he picked it up.
Kevin Weeks, this New York Rangers team, top 4 in the NHL in terms of goals against average during the campaign. Lundqvist so important in that. Weeks has taken over for Lundqvist, started it from the outset here in game 2. Coach Rennie said he was playing a hunch.
And history.
True. Past history for Weeks when he was with the Canes at the Devils' expense. Lukovich fires, and Weeks turns that aside.
And that's the reason why Lundqvist was struggling with plays like that the entirety of game 1, making saves in traffic, getting the proper reads, and then the quick reaction. Kevin Weeks has been pretty good tonight in that regard.
He has 17 saves to his credit, more than halfway through the third period now. The NHL Stanley Cup playoffs are on OLN. It's our pleasure to be with you tonight in New Jersey. Quick chance here, wrist shot denied. Brodeur dropped the pad on Pruka.
That's old school. Challenge, square up, and then drop the trailing pad to take away the bottom portion of the net.
Hale steps ahead of the hard-charging Pruka. The quick reverse is nicely done for Rafalski, and it's an easy clear for the Devils.
But that's a huge save by Brodeur. We're talking about technique. Never mind, that's a 3-1 hockey game. And that's right in the scoring area. Challenged and denied.
Against a guy who doesn't need very many shots to score. Right. He was among the NHL leaders in shooting percentage. Pruka was. Gianta drops it. Gomez pumps it over top of the crossbar. The big ricochet sends away Jed Ortmeyer. Ortmeyer full blast down the flank. Great pass for Betts. He just missed on the short side. Ozil to the front. Betts deflection try out the back and wide. Rangers pouring on the pressure now. Ortmeyer to the goal mouth. Ozelinch activating, as you said, Darren, getting into the offensive flow.
That's been a big difference, a huge difference in the third period at even strength for the Rangers. You force the Devils to play more than just 3 attackers. In the first 40 minutes, the defensive scheme of the Devils they generated separation between the forwards and the defensemen.
Elias striding in. Elias loads the gun and fires, and it's squeezed by Kevin Weeks. Just over 8 minutes to go. It is 3-1 New Jersey. Not without some scary moments for Martin Brodeur. Anxious onlookers on the Rangers bench. 3-1 for the Devils. An Ivy Leaguer is wearing the mic for us tonight. Dominic Moore. Mic'd up, presented by Bud Light.
Keep working in their end. I got him. Come on, stay positive here. Let's go. Come on.
That's what they've tried to do, stay positive. We saw that Dominic was saying he had Langenbrunner cutting through the zone. He released him. It's a man-zone defensive scheme there. So it wasn't a blown defensive assignment. The goal happened on the far side. He was calling it out at the top of the box. Once it gets to the bottom, it's the defense's responsibility.
25-year-old Ontario native Dominic Moore played his college hockey at Harvard. Nylander sprinkles it into the corner for Straka. Malik challenge. Sikora. Straka. Nylander out there now. No Jaromir Jagr for the Rangers. In this comeback attempt, he has not played tonight. This is a 3-on-1 for New Jersey. Marshall to Madden. Hat-trick! John Madden!
perfectly executed 3-on-1. Roosevelt pinches. That's the activation we're talking about, but he has to do a better job of keeping the puck in. But watch. We have depth and breadth to the attack. You see Pandolfo right. Marshall can go to Madden trailing or cross crease to Pandolfo. Well, you give it to the hot guy, and the hot guy is the hat guy tonight, John Madden.
A howitzer that triggers the shower of hats at the Continental Airlines Arena. The first two came short-handed. The hat-trick tally at even strength, and there was no mistake.
You understand what the Rangers are trying to do, but you can tell they're out of their game because they don't have great foot speed on their blue line to help the forwards keep the play alive in the offensive zone. And it's led to turnovers, so realistically, that's why they're more of a receding blue line court, trying to make plays in the neutral zone and get their forwards with the puck. But the forwards with the puck, that's predicated on having Raczynski in the lineup, Jágr in the lineup. John Madden and those guys capitalizing on those turnovers. There's been everything here. 4-1, Madden with the hat trick.
Well-deserved refreshment as we check in with Bill at the OLN studios.
All right, Joe, in Carolina, Montreal has struck. Alex Kovalev, impossible angle, not completely. That's one. Then a pickpocket job by Alexander Perjogin on Matt Cullen. He passed it to Richard Zednik. Zednik also scores. They got 2 goals in 36 seconds, and Montreal leads Carolina 5-4. Joe and Darren.
Whoa, Bill, that's a wild one there. As John Madden has attempted to take a lot of the competitive charm away from this one in the third with his third strike.
There's a play by Roosevelt. He has to get the man or get the puck, and in a 3-1 deficit situation, Roosevelt has to make an offensive play in the offensive third. He can't. It turns into a 3-on-1. Here's Marshall. Perfect execution. Option wide, option deep, no option and no save for weeks. And not much help or not much anybody could do, including Merrick Malik trying to defend that 3-on-1.
It's a tough situation for Tom Rennie and the Rangers, too, especially when you think that they don't have Jaromir Jágr. As far as John Madden's concerned, it's been a Jágr-like performance. The hat trick for number 11.
Take a look at the trick. Pretty special passes that he's finished on. That one by Rafalski. This one just a bank out of the zone. Time about to expire. Ozelin's with the help. No. With the tap. Roosevelt with the fail. Marshall filling the neutral zone lane, finding Madden, who just steps into it. It was hammer time. Weeks was deep, but he had to be because it was a 3-on-1. But just this team is in sync. Confident. Defense leading to offense in transition. John Madden, hallmark to their success.
A delay here as they continue to clean up the hats and debris after the Madden celebration. Here's Bill again.
Well, Joe, we just want to remind everybody that coming up, Colorado and Dallas, Joe Sakic and his guys are already underway against the Dallas Stars. The Avalanche leading their series 1-0. As soon as we clean up the New York Rangers and the New Jersey Devils, we will have you out to Dallas for Game 2 of this Western Series. Oh, yes, we are Hockey Central for the Stanley Cup playoffs, Joe.
And for that, Bill, we are much appreciative. Another busy night for you and Keith and Bryant. The New York Rangers without Jaromir Jágr. Jágr injured in Game 1 of this series, won convincingly by New Jersey 6-1. The upper body injury, we've heard speculation, everything from shoulder to elbow on down.
Well, he can't play, and you know he must be hurt pretty badly. He's had an MVP type season, Jaromir Jágr. Didn't miss a game, played banged up many, many nights. And he was frustrated in Game 1, hurt his shoulder. And the question now becomes, Joe, it's day-to-day, yes, but the feeling and the sentiment that I got talking to folks around the Rangers, if he does come back in this series, at what level will he be able to compete? Because a lot of his game is drawing contact, down low, in the blocks, below the hash marks, playing those one-on-one battles. If you've ever had a sublexed, separated shoulder, you know how difficult it is and how painful it can be just to move, never mind draw contact.
Kevin Weeks and his opposite number, Martin Brodeur, in the netminders duel tonight. 4-1 for the New Jersey Devils with 7:14 to play. And we have gone through a lengthy delay after the Madden goal. fans littered the ice, of course, with baseball caps and the like, but also with what appears to be one of the giveaway items in attendance. And those are strewn all over the ice surface. And of course, that is a dangerous situation. Many of those, as you can see, are clear or white on top of the ice of the white. It is 4-1 Devils. We have an update on the Stars and the Avalanche, and we check in with Bill.
Joe, it started on a face-off. Pierre Turgeon for Colorado beats Stu Barnes right to Rob Blake. You don't want to give Rob Blake this much time, because here's what happens by Marty Turco. And on the road in Game 2, the Avs strike first. 1-0 Colorado. Joe?
There are few things alike of that Rob Blake slap shot with that better than 100-mile-an-hour heater that he can bring. And the Avs getting on the board again on the road.
They're starting to feel it a little bit. These guys, the Devils, feeling it here tonight. They wanted to get this thing underway. They were helping the maintenance crew collect those the giveaways that were thrown onto the ice, trying to get this thing underway with 7:14 remaining in the third. John Madden has made sure that the Devils have this one firmly in hand, up 4-1.
I remember a John Madden 4-goal game in the past. I remember he's had a couple of other regular season hat tricks. But for Madden in the postseason, a 3-goal performance and a 3-goal lead once again for the Devils with 7 minutes to play in the third. Game 3 of this series will carry it with the NHL on OLN Wednesday night at Madison Square Garden. The Devils won just once in 4 tries there during the regular season. Ruchin grappling with Martin. Brodeur paddles it around for Zach Parise, and he'll glance it to center.
Setting the battle high, as we talked about, the winger out near the point position, so it's an easy chip off the boards to safety.
All right, Darren, is it still that vaunted neutral zone trap for the Devils as Gomez steals, looks to create for Parise again?
Well, we talked to Patrick Elias this morning. You were there when we talked about it. He said, we were working hard, but we weren't working very smart before the winning streak. What he meant was our positioning is better, and our decision-making, when to be aggressive and when to be patient. And that, to me, says they're trapping when they have to, but they're going an awfully lot more. And I say it's really reflected in the way Marshall, Pandolfo, those guys are jumping in on the attack when they have a chance. They're not just sitting back and letting teams come at them.
Rangers have to be reaching for a lifeline now, trailing by 3 late in the third, and they'll have a power play chance here.
And Socorro wide left right against the boards, trying to get some kind of an offensive scheme going out of the neutral zone.
Rasmussen gets the gate for holding. Just over 6 minutes to go in the third. Rangers in the white sweaters, hoping to avoid going down 2-0 in this series. They got a lot of work ahead of them. Cody fires, deflection try, vacuumed up by Brodeur.
A thing of beauty. We always talk about hockey sense when it comes to defensemen and forwards. Marty Brodeur has hockey sense in the way he reads and reacts to the play in front of him from the goaltending position.
His career goals against average in the playoffs, a nice and tidy 1.86. Marty stares down at his attackers. Straka on the run. Rafalski taps it along the boards, but not out. Ozelinch to Sikora. Funneled for Nylander. Waved at there by Pandolfo. 1 minute to go in the power play for the Rangers right now. Nylander fires, stop, rebound, and Brodeur has that too. And they'll wash out the goal. A quick whistle from LaRue. No goal for the Rangers.
And I think it was pretty obvious. The whistle went before the puck entered the net. You judge at home. Great job by our guys to get you that look and listen simultaneously.
You know, I say the word quick whistle, and I know that officials are going to immediately take offense.
Right.
That whistle was there. He lost sight of the puck.
Right.
It was still moving, unfortunately.
But he doesn't know that. He doesn't know that. It's under the gear of Marty Brodeur. And believe me, a guy like Brodeur gets the benefit of the doubt, too. I mean, he's been so good for so long. He's earned that right, but you know what? When he gobbles up rebounds, they're usually clean. That one just was not quite as tidy as usual.
Fedor Tutin, Russian-born winger, over to Roosevelt. Playing catch with Pruka. One-touch passing, foiled again. Shots on goal are level at 22 apiece. The Devils have the 4-1 advantage. They got 2 in the first, 1 in the second, 1 more here in the third. Madden has 3 of those 4. Roosevelt deking away from Breland. Posted to the front, deflection try, and Brodeur got that on Dominic Moore.
Acrobatic, playing to the end. No such thing as garbage time for Marty Brodeur.
Off we go to a commercial. Down the stretch in game 2 right after these.